Hey guys, I wanted to show you what I have been occupying my time with for the past month and a half. Right behind me is my family's maple syrup evaporator, and so I have been running our maple syrup operation and making syrup all spring. So I've been getting a lot of questions on my Instagram page about on my Snapchat, sorry, on what all of this stuff is and how all of it works. So I wanted to make a little video, kind of go from start to finish here in the Sugar Shack. This is the Sugar Shack where we make the maple syrup, and show you how the boiling process works and how this whole system operates. So our woods where we collect our sap is down the road. We have about 1,900 taps over about 20 acres. And so we gather the sap out there and we bring it in this tank in the truck back to the house. This is a 300-gallon tank in the back of our 1-ton pickup truck. And we pump it from there up into this holding tank up here. From this tank, this is about a 350-gallon tank. From there, it flows through gravity in this pipe into the evaporator. It's at this point when it's coming in, it's about 35 degrees Fahrenheit, and so this is nice and cold here. And what this unit does, this top unit here above this line, is a preheater. We call that a steam away because it uses the steam off of this pan down below it to preheat that sap. So as it's coming in, we have a float valve here. So there is a float that controls this lever arm for valve. So as you push this down, it opens this valve more and allows more sap to flow in. And then when it closes, the sap is at the correct level and it doesn't flow in anymore. That alarm means that I need to load the stove. So I'm gonna set you down, show you how I load this. So we put wood in the fire every 7 minutes, and so it stays really, really hot. Okay, let's continue on our tour here. So in this pan, we have all the steam off of this pan getting ducted in there, and there's a bunch of tubes on the inside, and all that steam is preheating, like I said, but we also duct air in. We have a blower outside. We blow air through that PVC pipe there into here to start a cold boil. So you can see, we got all steamed up there. You can see in there it's bubbling away. Looks like it's boiling, but it's not hot enough yet. So what that does is it creates bubbles in there that allow greater heat transfer, greater surface area, and also start the evaporation process. There's a little bit of vapor in those bubbles that comes off in steam. So as it enters here, I said 35 degree Fahrenheit, comes out of here, and it is about 180 degrees at this point. We can see that here in this float box. Another float box here, control the level in this pan. This is a low fluid alarm that we have. So when this probe, if it ever gets out of the fluid, we hear an alarm, sounds about like this. And that's a bad thing. So we never want to let this pan get low. Coming around on this side, you can see this is all of the condensed water that comes out of the steam away. So this is 200 degree water right here. It's all the steam from this pan condensed on that cold sap and then comes out right there. We use this water for cleaning, and it's distilled water, so it's quite useful around here. Inside this pan, we can see the sap is starting to boil, and this pan is doing 90% of the work. So I guess I should mention what's going on here. So the sap is coming in. It's clear like water when it comes out of the trees. As you can see in here, it's still pretty clear. It's a little sweet. It's 2% sugar, and we need to boil it and concentrate it till it gets to 66% sugar. That's when it's true maple syrup. And to do that, we need to take 45 gallons of sap to get 1 gallon of syrup. And this whole thing is doing that for us. This will flow 150 gallons an hour with the steam away. The steam away is an optional unit, but it increases your efficiency by about 40%, so it is very necessary. This pan is 30 inches wide and 8 feet long. The first one is 2 feet, and the second one is 6 feet. So this pan here is doing 90% of the work. The sap's coming in. It's about 4% sugar at this point from the concentration that happens in the steam away, and it is 180 degrees. As it's in there, that pan is actually not a flat bottom, so it's called a flue pan. So the bottom of it looks like this. That's a cross section there. So the sap sits in these valleys right here. And then the fire is underneath, it's inside of there. So instead of that pan being 30 inches wide, there's really like 8 feet of surface area there. And the fluid level is really quite low. So it works its way through there. There's a bunch of channels. And then it comes into here. And it is now about 16% sugar. So 87.5% of the boiling is already done at that point, because as the concentration increases, the water decreases. It's actually an exponential curve. So we start with 2, we end at 66, and they're at 16%. So it goes 2 to 4 is 50% of the water, 4 to 8 is another 50%, so that's now 75% of the original water. 8 to 16 is another 50%, which is 12.5%. which gives us 87.5% of the water is already gone by the time it gets to this pan. Now this pan is a flat bottom pan. It's right over the fire, so it's the most controlled temperature wise, and we keep the level pretty low in there. So in here, we can simmer it really controlled and get the last, little bit of water out of it. We're not removing the last 12.5% of water. But we're going to 66%. So it's even less. So we really want this to go slowly and controlled. What I'm doing here is when we get foam like that, like it just had, still a little bit more, is we drip organic sunflower oil in there. So this is basically tasteless. Most of it boils out. We put just a couple of drops so it'll never notice it. But what it does is it breaks the hydrogen bonds on the surface there and prevents bubbles from happening. Breaks the surface tension. So in this pan, we're coming in now. As the concentration of sugar is increasing, the temperature is also increasing, right? Because water, pure water, that distilled water over there, that'll boil at 212 degrees at sea level. As you increase concentration of sugar, the temperature will increase. Well, here we're at about 1,200 feet of elevation, so our water boils today, and it depends on barometric pressure. This afternoon there was a rainstorm that came in, and so our temperature today is 210.7. So then, when it's maple syrup, true maple syrup, and the concentration is correct, we are at 7.1 degrees Fahrenheit over the boiling point of water. So we watch this thermometer here, and when this gets to 217.8 today, because the boiling point is 210.7, when this gets to 217.8, that's when it's maple syrup. So while we're standing here operating, we're loading the wood, and there's the alarm for the wood again, but we also have to check the temperature. So when this temperature reaches that 217.8, we open this valve and draw into this pan here. But first, let me load the fire again. I hope you guys can see this. I kind of have the phone propped up there. I think you should be able to see in there. So we burn a heck of a lot of wood, as you can probably tell. Oh. God, that's hot. Woo. So this is a closed, sealed firebox, forced air. So it's got a blower fan under there, ducts in air. We control the fan here with a little fan control. So I keep it at it's a black line there. Right now we need to go get more wood. This is Barney. He's the wood cart. So we burn about a full quart of wood for every 25 to 30 gallons of maple syrup. Now this season we have made, sorry, the video got cut off there. My phone died. Yeah, so I was saying we have made 700 gallons of syrup, which is about 28 full loggers cords. Most people talk about cords, they talk about face cords. It's now starting to rain out here. But this is about a face cord right there. There's 3 face cords in a full cord. That right there is about a full cord. So we burned 28 of those. So if you picture this shed was completely full when we started. And then there was also 3 rows outside the full length. So we burned all of that. And we only really plan on burning enough for 500 gallons of syrup. This year we've had an exceptional year. So as you can tell, we have the wood processor out and we've been making firewood as we go, which is a total pain in the ass because it's an extra job that we don't have the manpower for normally. But we're doing what we got to do. So, while I'm standing around chit-chatting, we're getting too hot here. So we got to draw off. Might not be able to hear me because of the rain now. So we watch this temp. It's okay to get this hot. We don't really want to make a habit of it because we're giving away extra sugar. Not that that's a problem for you guys, but we could be making more product with that sugar. So we try to keep it as close to the draw temperature as possible. We also don't want to get this too hot. Anything over about 225, we could start burning the sugar to the pan. We don't want to do that. It'll taint the whole batch. We have to dump it out, and then we have to take downtime to clean the pan, which we can't afford. So this is going to be a heavy draw here. Going to take a lot out. So once we've drawn this syrup off, this is now finished syrup. We need to filter it. So it goes into here. This is our finished pan, and then it goes through our filter. Let me show you why we need to filter it. So here, I'll just fill this up. This is the raw, unfiltered syrup, and as you can see, it's really cloudy and milky. It's not crystal clear like the syrup that you guys are used to, like this stuff. So we need to filter it to get to that level. So what's in there is the question, right? So in the trees, in the groundwater, there's a lot of minerals, and we call it niter when it accumulates. But because we're boiling so many gallons, hundreds of gallons, thousands of gallons really, that niter precipitates and it creates things like this. So this was all in that pan. I pulled it out of that finishing pan the other day. This is after about 300 gallons of maple syrup going through it. So this stuff is just all calcium, silica sand, whatever else is in the tree and in the groundwater that it soaks up. And this is just like in a hot water pot. If you get calcium buildup or whatever, same sort of deal. And you don't see this in the sap, just like you don't see the brown or taste the sugar, because it all gets concentrated so much, that stuff precipitates out. So let me take this and show you the filter process. So I'll set the phone down here. So we're going to take this, pour it directly into here. About like that. And then we're going to take and add our filter aid to it. So what this is a compound called, oh man, gotta load the stove again. Hold on. So we go through a filter press, which is commonly used in chemical world, like gasoline refining and things like that. But it's also used in the food industry. It's also used in the food industry. So this is the filter press right here. So we add this stuff in, and this stuff also used in pool filters. Completely natural product, completely food safe, but all of it gets filtered out. So we mix this in here, and what that does is it accumulates inside our filter press here. So these plates are all individual filters, and they look about like this on the inside. So these are a frame that gets a paper like that, and then we call it the waffle. So the sap or the syrup comes in, and it flows through this hole here, and then through this hole, and comes in and fills this area. And the diatomaceous earth that we just added can't go through the paper that sits here, so it accumulates and fills up this space. And so all of that syrup gets pumped through a big three-dimensional filter. All of these plates are like that, and so that really does a very, very, very fine filtering of the syrup and gets all of that sediment out, all those minerals, and makes the really clear syrup that we're used to. So we're done bottling at this point. The first 200 gallons we made this season we put into bottles, and now we're going directly into barrels. So normally we would fill this up and then go through the filter press and into bottles here using this spout and a little table there. But now we're going directly from the evaporator and immediately filtering it and putting it into the barrel. So there you can see the filtered syrup, final product, going into barrels. So that's a 55-gallon drum. Those are all full over there. And we can sell it just right like this as bulk syrup to a distributor. They'll repackage it, sell it to their customers. We've sold to Anderson's Maple, which is what these barrels came from. They supply to Kroger and to Meijer. So you can go in there and see Anderson syrup, and that's could be some of ours. But we don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. We want to bottle this and sell it ourselves. But we don't have a market for this much syrup at this point. So we've been trying to expand our markets, and that's a big job for me this year, is try to find more customers and more retail outlets, so we can bottle this and sell it. Right now we have our 200 gallons, and we already have existing customers for that and retail outlets, but we don't really have any existing agreements for anything more than that. So we're going to hold on to these barrels for a couple of months, and then if I can find some more places to sell and we need to, I will rebottle. And we get about twice the amount of money per gallon by selling it in bottles than we do selling it in barrels, but it's a lot more work. So I think it's well worth it. Most of the work is doing all of this boiling and putting all this energy into it, and all of this time. So the bottling and resale is, I think, a worthwhile time investment. So that's what I'll be working on throughout the summer. This thing, we're talking about time, this thing will boil 150 gallons an hour of sap, make 3 gallons of syrup an hour. So we have boiled, this week alone, we have boiled on average 1,500 gallons a day. So you can see here 1,500, 1,200, 1,700, 2,100, 1,500. Last week 18, 27, 12, a couple of short days there. But so thank you for your time. I appreciate you watching the video. I hope this answers some of the questions some of you guys have had. I hope you guys find this interesting. Tomorrow I will be going out to the woods. I got to do some work out there, so I will make another video of how we collect all of this sap and everything that's going on out there. This has gotten a little too long to try to add it into this, so so if you have any questions, let me know. I'm super frantic right now, so I might not get to them, but right, and I won't get them right away, but I will be getting to them. Also, I will be making a website here so that you guys can order syrup if you're not local, and I will be able to ship it to you. Until that happens, if you want to buy some, shoot me a message. Like I said, it's going to be a couple of weeks before I can really do anything, but shoot me a message and I can get you some. So thanks for watching. Take it easy.